I want to say it is great to be here, what we call Woody Fest. It's been a long road here, but what the hell, I'm a road warrior. It is true that I had an accident. And my recovery has at times been precarious. If there were any truth to that old trope, no pain, no gain, hell, I'd be in great shape by now. But just because I'm out here on thin ice doesn't mean I want you to come out here and save me, because it is thin ice. And we'll both go down. Though I would prefer it if you did not toss me an anvil. You know, anvils from Acme. A company making everything.
All my friends are crazy. Does that mean I'm crazy? Does that mean I'm crazy too?
Everybody in this life finds themselves behind an 8-ball every now and then. And when the shot you need to make is behind the 8-ball, the only way you're definitely not going to make that shot is to ignore the 8-ball. That 8-ball ain't no magic neither. I want the signs to actually point to yes. Reply hazy, try again, just ain't going to fly. That's why when I'm playing 8-ball, and the 8-ball's on its side, I say, infinity in the corner pocket. That corner pocket ain't no magic neither. It ain't no black hole. Black holes, you know, from Acme, a company making everything.
The morning seems so lazy. I could not find a thing to do. I could not find a thing to do.
And our friendship is not just the winning ball sitting at the mouth of the corner pocket. It's more like a boulder on the edge of a cliff, and the ground is rumbling, and that boulder could roll either way. But sometimes in life, taking the high road will lead you off a cliff. Other times you take the high road, you just see that there's another road higher up. And that's the road you take to see the boulder. And I know which way I don't want it to roll, and I pledge my part to keep that from happening. Only I don't want to wind up like that character in that song. You know the one? The rock's gonna fall on us. The character in that song kept it from happening. Only he was never heard from again.
And you give. And you give. And you give. Yeah, you give.
And we already know that boulder's going to wind up hitting the coyote. And that boulder didn't come from Acme. And I ain't never been to Walla Walla, Washington. And I don't turn into no accordion like the coyote. And I never wanted to catch me no road runner. I always wanted to be a road runner. The thing they never mention in those cartoons, I live in Texas these days, and I've seen it firsthand. That road runner, the road runner can fly.
Procession in the summer. The crowning of a drama queen. Do you think she still believes? Do you think she still believes?
I ran the road for years with a woman named Ann Feeney. And I remember being in a bar with her in Pittsburgh. There was a big screen television over the bar. And on the news, they were showing pictures of a Pittsburgh city bus that had fallen into a sinkhole. It was an astounding picture. An entire city bus sitting up at a 45-degree angle, nose up, inside of a giant hole. We looked astounded at each other, and we finished our drinks, walked out of the bar, and I am not making this up. That city bus was right outside the bar we were in. The word astounded took on a different meaning.
And you give, and you give, and you give, yeah, you can give.
We walked outside that bar. There was also a guy stuck down in that hole, the giant sinkhole. And he was shouting out for help. And this doctor walked by. He said, "Hey, Doc, I'm stuck down in the hole. Can you help?" The doctor pulled out his pad, wrote out a prescription for Prozac, tossed it down in the hole, and walked on down the road. And this priest walked by. He said, "Hey, Padre, I'm stuck down in the hole. Can you help?" The priest pulled out his pad, wrote out a prayer for salvation, redemption, and deliverance, tossed it down in the hole, and walked towards Providence. But then the guy's friend walked by, and he yelled out, "Hey, Joe, I'm stuck down in a hole. Can you help?" And I am not making this up. Joe just jumped down in the hole with him. The guy said, "Joe, what'd you do that for? Now there's two of us down here." Joe just looked at him. He said, "Yeah, I know. But I've been down here before. And I know the way out."
All my friends are crazy. Does that mean I'm crazy? Does that mean I'm crazy? Does that mean I'm crazy too?
So yeah, I might be stuck out here on thin ice, but I want to take this moment to thank each and every one of you for not tossing me an anvil, because I want infinity in the corner pocket. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's the first poem I wrote since the accident. And I was proud to. You are the fourth audience to hear it.
4 times 10.
I live in Austin, Texas. You might find this hard to believe, but there's a lot of reasons you might want to leave Texas. I've been thinking about relocating to Oregon. So I wrote a poem about some of the reasons why. Rain makes me feel less alone. All rain is a cloud falling apart and dropping its broken pieces on top of you. And it makes me feel good to know that other things in nature can shatter. It's not that my heart is breaking, it's that I am falling apart. And why should my heart be any different? But my friends, lately I have learned the hard way that falling apart is good, because it's the only time in life you get to put yourself back together any way that you want to.
Got a wind-up bird, don't care about nothing at all. I got little rays of sunshine in my hall. All the lovable freaks out in the street, get on up and you can find a place to meet.
Rain clouds add rich color to an otherwise merely blue sky. And who wants to feel blue all the time? I mean, don't get me wrong. I celebrate the blue. Hell, I work with Paul Benoit. So yeah, I celebrate the blue. And I've been to Clarksville, Mississippi. And in my van that I drove up here last year, but I couldn't do it this year, sitting in a parking lot of some low-income housing in Austin, Texas. And in the glove compartment of that van, there's a bag of dirt from the corner of Highway 61 and Mississippi 49. But when I went down to the crossroads, I didn't make me no deal with the devil. But not for lack of trying. We all believe that Robert Johnson was the king of the blues. But a king's crown, it's just a hat with a hole in it that lets the rain in. Perhaps there's a reason that rain and rain sound the same.
Don't you know everything is temporary? Tomorrow's sun is different than today's. Holding on really isn't necessary. Just let things go their own way.
Rain is the sky visiting the earth to perform symphonies upon tin roofs. And sometimes when the rain begins to fall, it may seem that it has no purpose at all, but it's fulfilling its destiny to fall and to fall and to fall again. For that, my friends, is how it cracks the stone prison walls of suffering. By falling, gently falling. Like Tim Mason used to say, falling gently, like water cracking stone.
All the lovable freaks out in the street, get on up and you can find a place to meet.
And from its falling, the ground beneath my feet is nurtured. And that, my friends, is the moment that life begins. And I want you to know that I have lived with pain in my life.
Don't you know everything is temporary? All you have is all that you borrow. Holding on really isn't necessary. All you want, you will lose tomorrow.
And I only exacerbate the agony when I fail to genuflect to the heavy perfume of wild magnolias and azaleas. And I only exacerbate the agony when I fail to genuflect to the sound of lonesome crickets on a humid summer night. And when I fail to genuflect to the rivers, like the one that's right over there, that run like clocks with no number. And when I fail to genuflect to the new constellations that appear and reappear beneath dark clouds at night.
Don't you know?
And when I fail to
everything
genuflect
is temporary.
to the morning
Tomorrow's
rainbow
sun is different than today.
that arches its back,
Holding on really isn't necessary.
Having a three-way.
Just let things go their own way.
with the sun that rises and the rain that falls and soaks deep into the earth's core, so that the people in hell can have a sip of water. You guys are applauding for a guy that came up from Texas to Oregon to read a poem about rain?
I don't know, it's on the list.
Well, we're raining pretty hard in Texas right now. My sister festival of the Oregon Country Fair is the Kerrville Folk Festival, and Kerrville is underwater. That's what's next on the list. I will. This is a brand new one. You will be the third audience to hear this one.
Times four. Third times four.
They told me I could say you were the first audience 12 times, but that's not true.
Who's they?
The band?
Proverbial that.
The voices in Chandler's head. It's the next album name.
conductor's name. A Cincinnati jacket and a sad look. Hanging out the window with a bottle full of rain. Clap hands. Clap hands. Clap hands. Whoa, clap hands.
There is a light that wakes us up and gets us out of bed each day. But it is not the blue neon of digital clocks announcing a central point in a specific time zone. Nor is it the orange ball that breaks the horizon and creates the very time zones of day and night. Though it crosses each of those horizons, here, now, back then, tomorrow. It is an older light. It is the first light. And it knows no maps and requires no postage stamps because it is the first light.
Roll, roll, thunder and roll. Some bitches never coming back here no more. The moon in the window and a bird on the roof. We can always find a millionaire to shovel on the roof. Clap hands. Clap hands. Clap hands. Whoa, clap hands.
Once upon a time, I was a lighting designer. And the man that illuminated me on that topic taught me, put the light where you want it and take it away from where you don't. He was the lighting designer at the Kennedy Center. His name was Jim Alberti. And he quit stage lighting the same year that I did. Granted, he had a 30-year career, and I only had a few years on the road with a punk rock band called The Weasels.
Steam, steam, 100 bags. Going up to Harlem with a pistol in his hands. A $50 bill inside a paladin's hat. And nobody's showing Mr. Knickerbocker's eyes. Whoa, 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 I say roll, roll, thunder and roll. Some bitches never coming back, you know. The moon in the window and a bird on the moon. We can always find a millionaire to shovel on the floor. Clap hands. Clap hands.
I quit stage lighting to become a poet. Put the words where you want them and take them away from where you do not. A beam of light has both beam and field. It can be sharp, hard, or soft. It has direction. It has movement. It has color. It paints a picture. And I always thought it was ironic that my name is Chandler, which means candle maker. And the father of stage lighting, his name was Stanley McCandless.
Steam, steam, 100 bags. Going up to Harlem with a pistol in his hands. A $50 bill inside a paladin's hat. And over the show with Mr. Knickerbocker's eyes. Whoa, 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 I said shine, shine, Roosevelt. All the way to Baltimore, but running out of time. The Salvation Army seems to wind up in the road. They've all gone to heaven in the road. Clap hands.
I always thought it was ironic, too, that my first favorite poet broke every language convention conceived of. Yet he went to Harvard. I am from rural Georgia, yet my first stage was the hard light of Harvard Square as a street poet.
Sing, sing, they're all insane. The fireman's blind, the conductor. A Cincinnati jacket and a saddler. Hanging out the window with a bottle full of rain. Clap hands.
Poets, be careful what you wish for.
Clap.
For every language convention that my first favorite poet broke over 100 years ago has bubbled to the surface via cryptic text messages polluted with emojis. Yet still, my favorite book by E.E. Cummings is titled Ampersand. And ampersand is arguably the first emoji.
Roll, roll, with thunder and thunder. Some bitches never coming back here no more. The moon in the window and a bird on the phone. We could always find a millionaire to shovel over gold. Clap.
Jim Alberti left stage lighting to create, yes,
Clap.
the most important flea circus of the 20th century. It was a question on Jeopardy. I left stage lighting to become a street poet. And I did so because it was recommended to me by, yes, Pete Seeger. Put the light where you want it and take it away from where you don't.
Steam, steam, 100 bad dreams. Going up to Harlem with a pistol in his jeans. A $50 bill inside a paladin's hat. And nobody's sure where Mr. Knickerbocker's at. Whoa, 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 I say shine, shine, Roosevelt down. All the way to Boston, but we're running out of time. The Salvation Army seems to wind up in the way. They've all gone to heaven and clap hands.
Put the words where you want them and take them away from where you don't. That is the white that gets me up and gets me out of bed each day. But it's not the blue neon of digital clocks announcing a central point in a specific time zone. No, it is an older light. It is the first light. It is poetry.
Give it up for Jared Kaplan on the cow drum.
Thank you very much.
What is that called? Oh, it's a table drum.
Do you,
My
do you
apologies.
use it as a table? Yeah. Can I put my coffee on it? After a long period of time, I finally wound up at a place called the Center for Neuro Skills. And I got to hang out with other patients who had a traumatic brain injury. And I bonded with them. I related to them a lot more than I related to the so-called therapists. We called the place the Looney Bin. And we laughed with each other because we knew that we weren't talking about us being crazy. We were talking about the system being crazy. And they wanted to hear a poem. And I thought the one thing that we had in common is that we all felt like after this happened to us, things would never be the same.
Come gather around, people, from wherever you roam. And admit that the waters around you have grown. And accept that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving.
But things haven't been the same since the Big Bang. Not since the first cosmic gases cooled and vast lifeless oceans were formed. And they began to seethe with DNA and began to swim with life. But you know what happened? Some of that life didn't like it in the ocean where its parents lived, and thus hauled itself onto the land. And this event caused the more conservative fish to cry out with alarm. Don't you go and do it. Fish should stay at home. We swim, we don't walk. We'd lose our very fishness if we're ever caught walking. And alliances were formed to stop this sort of thing. And slogans were shaped to fit their purposes. Whatever happened to traditional values? The coalition of concerned gill breathers cried out. Well, they cited their prophet, this paranoid shellfish by the name of Nostradamus, who predicted a dark future of death camps called Red Lobster, and an evil tyrant known as Long John Silver. And things have never been the same.
And you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are changing.
And right now, at this very instant, somewhere in Lyons, Oregon, even during Woody Fest, I'll bet you, right now, a sperm cell is fusing with an ovulating egg. And soon that fetus grows into a breathing infant and is weaned from its mother's breast. And mother and child will never be the same again.
Come mothers and fathers from across the land, don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your old road is rapidly changing. Get out of the new one if you can lend a hand, for the times they are changing.
And don't even talk to me about puberty. Some of you will claim it's a stage of life, but I'd like to posit that it's really more of an affliction, because puberty leads us to freedom. And freedom can be just as daunting as puberty and every bit as ugly to witness. And if any of you out there have ever been to an open mic night, you know what I'm talking about. And since I too have witnessed freedom and all its excesses, I too will never be the same again. Because freedom leads us to choices. I mean, there are so many religions out there. There are so many banks, so many kinds of checking accounts, so many ways to finance one automobile, so many options on one Toyota Prius, so many roads to take, so many gas stations along each road. Each one's got regular, unleaded, super unleaded, not to mention the variety of chips available at the cash register. So come on, which one's it gonna be? PayPal or Venmo?
The line it is drawn, the curse it is cast. The slow one now will later be fast, and the present now will later be past. The order is rapidly changing, and the first one now will later be last, for the times they are changing.
All right, let's cut the crap. We, even those of us here in Lyons, Oregon, we have cast our votes with our remotes, and we have become the Republic of Infotania in the virtual states of America. Red, white, and bloodshot eyes, fixed as a blue light flickers, revealing a huge and glorious beast. And that beast is everywhere, but it exists nowhere. It has 10,000 mouths that speak at once. And it chatters on and on and on about power and sex and God. And most importantly, delicious salty snacks. But it provides us not with power nor sex, nor allows us to communicate with God. But the salty snacks are available just about everywhere. There have been millions of years of evolutionary change, and we prodigal lungfish, have risen from the ocean floors. We should now return to the water's edge, looking down at the fish, gloating. We are triumphant. We rule the world, and we bring to you Pringles.
Let the sun shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are a-changing.
Millions of years of evolutionary change,
Come
and we are
and
still
critics
swimming
who prophesy
in a vast
with your
ocean
pen.
of lifelessness.
Keep your eyes wide open. Your chance won't come again.
What do we tell the children?
Don't speak too soon, for the wheel's still in spin.
What do we tell our own mangled hearts?
No telling who is naming.
What do we tell these disappointed innocents?
Loser now, later
We'll tell them
win.
that they
For the
will
times
never be
they
the
are
same again.
changing.
Because only the extinct do not change.
Come gather round, people.
So fish and fetus, suckling infant and sulking cynic, we may never be the same. But all of this is meant to sound optimistic. For it means simply, we are not stuck this way. It means we can change. We will change. And we will never be the same again.
Give it up for Chris Chandler.
Thank you
Thanks
very
so
much.
much. Christine Gunn on the cello and the vocals. Thank you. Once again, thanks to Christine and Reggie for playing before. That was awesome.
Give it up for Paul Benoit, our band director.
Merci beaucoup, mes amis.
That poem I wrote with a fellow named Phil Rockstroh, and it's an older poem in my repertoire, but it was the first thing that I attempted to memorize after I fell and hit my head and fractured my skull. No worries. And Phil and I also wrote this this next poem. I was probably 15 when I met him, and yes, I was working in a bar when I was 15, and he was about 10 years my senior, and he was actually a published writer, and I was the worst poet in my high school. I used to write really bad poetry and recited it with a even worse English accent. Be like, as full dogs bite into the flesh. And I met this published poet, and I got really excited, and I brought him my poetry, and he looked at it, and he read it, and he wadded it up and ripped it out of the spiral notebook and wadded it up and dropped it on the beer-sodden floor of Hedgens Tavern. And he said, go home and write what you know. So I went home and I wrote a poem, and I brought it back to him the next day. And he looked at it and he goes, this is a lot better. It was a poem called Watergate Generation. He said, this is a lot better. Now, know something. Tough crowd. Phil and I collaborated for a number of years, and we went our separate ways, and we still bump into each other now and then and write something, and this is one that we wrote. At times, I feel enmeshed in the loneliness and longing of all things. And I have to ask myself, when I look out at you and know where I'm standing right now, I ask myself, what would I rather be?
I guess most things are better left unsaid. You can kiss them and put them off to bed. Leave them quiet and sleeping in your head. This is not you, this is not me, and so yes, can we agree?
Sometimes I swear to you, I will hear an exhausted sofa sigh, longing to be a hammock, tethered between two palm trees and swaying in a tropical breeze. The hammock sighs, longing to be a magnificent bed in a luxury hotel, where two champagne-sipping sophisticates meet for an illicit tryst. The cigarette lighter that they use after their stolen hour sighs in a crazed desire be the eternal flame, illuminating a graveyard of forgotten soldiers who gave their lives in a forgotten war. The forgotten war sighs. I wish Woody would just book me to play at one of his parties.
We are strangers underneath the roof, and we rub each other till we're smooth. Just rocks in a river running through. This is not me, this is not you. We are not one, we are not two.
Do you ever think that those practical number 2 pencils that accountants use, ever fantasize about drawing bawdy pictures of urban sophisticates in a luxury hotel? Does the luxury hotel ever dream of dropping its facade of rectitude and becoming a flop house, quartering a poet sprawled on an exhausted sofa, scrawling brilliant, unpublishable verse while being pestered by bill collectors on telephones which grow disgusted of tormenting the multitudes for niggling sums? So the telephones themselves begin orating the Sermon on the Mount. Does the Sermon on the Mount secretly want to be a Vegas lounge act?
I'm thinking of sad songs to sing, not understanding much of anything, but I'm holding out, I'm holding out.
What if there was a great awakening of atoms where they all remembered their vast and intricate histories? An atomic explosion of memory. We might hear the tale of a fleck of lint floating in the air. It was once part of a soldier's bootlace, which he gave to his beloved to lace her corset the night before he died in a forgotten battle, in a forgotten war. A fleck of lint that was once part of a bushman's pelt, which contained the tooth of a saber-toothed tiger, which evolved into an alley cat, which was gutted to make the strings of a violin, which entertained elegant guests in a luxury hotel. And that fleck of lint now has nothing but time on its hands to float to the air and sing of love, of war, of luxury, of poverty. And that fleck of lint now drifts unnoticed into your
I guess
beer.
most things are better left unsaid.
And you drink it down.
You can kiss them and put them
And it
off
sees
to
the
bed.
joys and the sorrows of your
Quiet
life.
and sleeping in
So
your
you
head.
too are
This
buried,
is not you.
forgotten
This
in
is
the
not
earth.
me.
But you
It's
will
only
rise
yes
again
to your
as
grave.
grass, which is eaten by cows who go to slaughter and are served in a luxury hotel and washed down with a beer. And we all get to have a Sunday night all over again. Thank you. That is the title track from Paul and I's latest album. We've done 5 together at this point. So I went from the emergency room into this rehab hospital. I was a stagehand, and that was what I was doing when I fell. I was taking out the Steve Martin and Martin short show. And I wound up in the rehab hospital, and once I was coherent enough for them to give me my phone, I asked if I could get out of the bed and get in the wheelchair, and I did, and I took the wheelchair down the hall, and I got in the elevator, and I went down to the ground floor, and I navigated 6 or 8 blocks to a convenience store so I could get a pack of cigarettes, and I took the wheelchair back to the hospital, and they let me out of the hospital shortly thereafter.
I've been crossing borders just to find you. I've been taking orders just to find you. I went south for a day. I came north for better pay. Dropped bad habits on the way. Picked up more, what can I say?
The roadmap of America unfolds before me from God's own glove compartment, used as a napkin to wipe the grease from my chicken finger, purchased from the devil's own drive-thru and discarded out the window of want, and it somersaults past silos and skyscrapers that materialize upon the horizon and then disappear through the tiny black hole that is my rear view.
It's true, I might have broke a heart in Mexico. She said, why don't you stay? But I had to go. There were crosses on the road. We're all dying, I'm told. Passing towns, forgotten names, but I miss them just the same.
Dogwoods and horse mint bloom, and pastures where dogs and horses roam, urban blight and rural decay, mudflap angels, solid white cotton fields like freshly fallen snow soften the Carolina landscape, picked by undocumented workers and shipped to Brazil, transformed to the latest polyfiber, 15% cotton, and then shipped to Bangladesh, sewn into tablecloths, shipped back to Carolina, all to be stocked upon the shelves of a Walmart by the very same people that once worked the textile mills that lie abandoned along the thin highways of fat America.
Got a secret message in my coffee cup. Study books and magazines and burn them up. All the strangers were my friends. I was letting go again. Can't take me there today. Well, LA's just point the way.
Mudflap angels and divisive bumper stickers redefine patriotism upon the rear bumper of a 2002 Toyota Tahoe with a faxless driver and an Idaho license plate. Honk if you love Jesus, it reads. I do so because I do. She gives me the finger. And forgiving her makes me love Jesus all the more.
Lost days, long nights, I lost you once. After the fight, got my map on the table again.
Billboards blaring God, guns, and gentlemen's clubs fail to see their own irony. A baseball glove, an apple pie, and an AR-15. Pure American, it reads. High-heeled Hellcat and fishnet. Beer specials noon to 4 a.m. Amateurs and couples welcome, it reads. Jesus Christ himself, embossed in stark black and white. Post-social realism with bright, realistic drops of blood dripping from an etched crown of thorns. And the billboard actually reads, "This blood's for you."
It's just gonna hurt if you care too much. Let's forget our feelings and rely on touch. I was out catching trains. I was late missing planes. I heard rumors on the way that I'd cross your path someday.
Headlights on. Gas prices as high as the traffic and my expectations. 18-wheelers lined up at ports of call, faring prime next-day deliveries. Beneath telephone and power lines, rain, refineries, and rainbows. The freshly paved asphalt glistens prismatic in the Appalachian drizzle. And those little white reflectors that divide a freshly paved highway for oncoming cars began to glimmer in the asphalt darkness like a necklace of stars.
Lost days, long nights, I lost you once. After the fight, got my map on the table again.
Windshield wipers slapping time. I was holding no one's hand in mine.
Lost days, long nights, I lost you once. After the fight, got my map on the table again.
As I sang every song the radio knew. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Ah, shucks.
I appreciate that.
I heard there's some fire dancing, hula hooping going on later too. Is that true? They gave up. They left.
They heard part of
They
our
went
set,
home.
took home.
Okay. Forget about it. Forget it. What I said.
We could do
It's
that.
summertime.
What
Oh,
day
what?
is
They
it?
have jobs?
Oh.
Is today Sunday? Oh. How come we're working?
as I was bonding with the patients at the Center for Neuro Skills, one of the things that we could really relate to each other with is everybody that was there had experienced at some point what I would call caregiver burnout or abandonment. And I started writing a poem lamenting it, and one of the patients said, "My friend, what you should do is write a poem that celebrates that friendship anyway." So I wrote this one